Hello, I'm Sally, a grade 12 student from the UK, and I have always loved adventuring and I have always loved the outdoors, whether it's playing rugby or helping out in the garden or going camping. It was pretty impossible to get me inside. Even when it was raining, I would run outside and dance around and lay on the grass. And this holds true to today. So, my hope with my mastery project was to create something to aid my childhood love for adventure and nature, to create something that can make the style of living I so desire more attainable. And that was through the creation of my tiny home on wheels, my project, Vroom Room, where I turned an empty cargo van into a livable space. To explain the creation of my project, let me take you on a tiny little road trip through my whole experience. But before our road trip can begin, we need something to travel in, and that would be my van, so let's buy it. To buy my van, it wasn't as simple as going to a dealer and going, oh, I'll have that one, please. It was a long process in which I had to break down into what's a decent amount of mileage for a car to previously have so that it will last more than just 2 years and be something that I can and will live in for a while. Again, that's the same concept with age. Is it too old to the point where I can't use it and will it break down? Make and build, how big does it want to be? Do I want to be able to walk around in it and live a luxurious life? Or do I want to go for a smaller build? These are all things, as also price, these are all things I had to look through. And I went through lots and lots and lots of vans, many different ones, looked at many different ones with my parents, and eventually we found this one. This is my little Ranu Kangoo. He's a 2016 van, and his name is Reggie. So, now we have this van. I then needed to learn how to make it into a home. And that started with taking tiny home interior design courses, learning about color schemes and color theory, and then also learning how to create electrical systems, specifically in mine, solar systems. And with that basic understanding from research, I created this 3D model of what I hoped that my van would look like, in which I used a color scheme, an analogous color scheme in which you use colors that are next to each other on a color wheel. For mine, they are the yellows, the greens, and the oranges. And I also used the 10, 30, 60% rule, in which 60% of your color is something bright, 30% is of like less bright colors. No, 60% is something that is calm and peaceful, 30% is a color that catches your eye but doesn't overwhelm you, and 10% is of a bright color that catches your eye. In my case, that's the orange. But then we hit a bump in the road. This is where our journey came to a halt for a moment, and that was because of electrics. I tried and tried and tried and keep trying to find ways to come up with how to create an electrical system, but there are so many more elements in it than I initially expected. There was times when I was asking my fellow TGS friends, even friends that have helped build and create robots could not understand what to do. But eventually we got there, we demolished that hump, we made it past, and we created this beautiful looking electrical system. She isn't the prettiest, but she functions, and that's what we needed. It incorporates everything I know. It's a dual system that runs both off solar power and off excess power from the starter battery in the van itself. It charges a fridge, multiple USB points, 4 spotlights, and a water pump. And from here, we could get going. We could really start flying, and we could start building. Here, we would measure, cut, break down all of the materials so that they can fit in the walls. We'd start putting in insulation and wiring, and it all sounds really easy, but it really was not. My wiring alone took me 4 tries. I put it in one time, realized, wait, if I'm driving in the van and the wire is how it is, it's gonna move, it's gonna vibrate, and it's gonna break down. It's gonna break and I'm gonna have to replace it in a year, and I don't want that. So I ripped it out again and I tried putting it around the side of the wall, like, could I put the wire in this way? Yet again, it would, if we continued to drive long times, it would break down. So then eventually we ended up, could put the wires through and drilling into the wall of the van itself to make them safer and really holding them down so when we drive along, it won't break down. But also, there's hard things that we had to learn, like the dew point of the UK and knowing how thick the insulation needs to be so that the wood in my van doesn't rot away and doesn't get moldy due to the condensation. These are all little elements that I did not realize would be so time consuming. And so this led to me coming to my next issue, time. And due to the fact that I was running out of time because there were so many little things that we had to overcome, my furniture needed to be done fast. I designed it, as you saw in my initial 3D render, but then I had to make it practical and exist and tangible. And it started off by drawing it out to scale. So then I got the help of my external mentor, Aid, who works in this field, and he really sped up the process of bringing it to life and meant that that speed bump didn't occur, and we could still keep and meet my project's needs before the time limit was up. Then, after the furniture was in, we could start actually wiring things together. The person you see on your left here is my other external mentor, John, who works in renewable engineering. And he really sat with me through the whole process of wiring, soldering, heat shrinking, and connecting everything together. Pretty much, he taught me firsthand, really, projects, how to build and create this. And with everything connected and all the lights put in, we made it. We reached our final destination, and we had a final van. But just to remind you, this is what it looked like before. A completely bare cargo van that you probably would expect a painter or decorator to turn up in and paint your house. And this is what it looks like after. A tiny home that you can live in, a bed big enough for one. If you're over like my height, then maybe not. But for my height, you can definitely lay down. There's fold-away tables at the side that you can lift up and cook on outside. There's flowing water. All my electrics work, as you can see on your left, my right. The lights work in the night, and even my dog loves it. This is a project that hasn't just been for school. It's been a project to aid my childhood dream of adventure and exploration, and now I get to do that thanks to TGS, thanks to my family for being so open to me doing these crazy things, and mainly to my external mentors for standing next to me and pushing me through the whole experience. Thank you.